Hello, welcome back to Sabtech Online. It's me again, Sabtech Christopher. Today we are going to talk about Power Query. We are going to start with the basics, then we shall combine files from a folder, then we see how you can instantly refresh them. Now, these are the files we are going to combine in a folder. So our files are in one folder, that is Super Store Sales, that is from 2017 to 2019. Then after that we shall add the 2020 and 2021 files. We see how they refresh after the combination is done using Power Query. Starting with the first thing is the installation. Before we go for the installation, Power Query is one of the engine used in Office that does the extraction, that's the importation and sorting of data in Excel sheets. And this is all about the ETL. So that is the extraction, transformation, and loading. So the extraction, that's where we do the importation of data. Then we transform the data. This involves data cleaning, data mining, and all the other bits. Then after that, we load the data to a sheet or to a connection ready for use in your data analytics. Now, before we go further, how do we access the Power Query tab or add-in? So for those ones using Office 2016 and above, Power Query is found in data. Then this first subsection, which is get and transformation of data, that is where we find all the Power Query functions or features. Then for those ones using 365, as I'm doing, it is always there in data and updated every week or every month. Then for the people using 2013 and 2010, unfortunately, Excel 2017 will not have Power Query, and even the add-in is not available. For those using 2013 and 2010 and 2013, you will download an add-in from Microsoft.com main website, and you will select. This is the link included in the description below of this video. So you download the resolution or the bits of the PC you're using, either 32-bit or 64. Select and download. Then after that, install. After the installation, this is going to appear here, a Power Query tab, which will involve exactly what you're looking at in the data tab for those using 2016 and above. Okay, let's start off with combination and how we use Power Query. Now, as I've already told you, we use Power Query for ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading. Power Query editor is now one of the features used in the business intelligence tools like Power BI and others, which will be enrolled out by Microsoft. So it is a feature which simplifies your work, and it does a lot of things, as we are going to do even in the continuing videos. Now, the first thing is we need to look at what are we looking at, what are we going to do, what is the goal. The goal is to have these three files combined. The file, one of them, let's say if I open 2017, this is it, having 21 fields, maybe I can say columns, and all of them having more than 2000 rows or data entered. So we shall have the file for 2017, we append it with 2018, append it with 2019, but with the use of Power Query, that will always be easily done. I cancel this one, then we start a new sheet, and this I will call it session. Now, the first thing we do is we go to data. Those using 2013, you'll have the Power Query tab here. If it is not available, always go to File, then you go to Options. You'll always have the add-ins here. Then you go to the add-in Excel add-ins, then you say go. It will bring all the add-ins. You'll find your Power Query tab here after you have installed it. Check and OK, and restart your Excel. It will appear here at the end. So we start off. How do we do this? We start with get data. Now with get data, this time we are going to use from file. We are not going to get data from a workbook, either from a CSV, either from a JSON file or PDF. This time I'm going directly to the folder. I want to pick a folder, and every data I drop in that folder, it should always be appended. So I will say from folder. It will open the browser pane, or it will open a dialog box where you have to select the folder you want to connect. So that one will be our source, our connection source. So I will browse for my file. My file is in Superstore Sales. You can also do UN, browse for the file. You will not see the files here because we are picking a folder as a source. So I will do open, and it is going to browse, authenticate the folder. If there is any logins you need for the folder, if it is a local network drive directory, you'll have to log in, then you access it. Now this is it. Now it shows me that in that file we have 3 files. In that folder there are 3 files, and indeed these are the 3 files that are in that folder. Now what we see here is we have the content. All the content is always in the first field, that is the binary. This is the name, the extension, all the other attributes which come with the file, the date accessed, modified, and all, even the file path or the folder path is here. Now I will not say combine immediately. For discipline, we shall not always combine immediately, because we need to first look at the data, whether how clean is it, whether we need to do any cleaning, any data mining, and all the bits, and remove blanks and duplicates and all the bits. So to do that, we always do transform data. Before you combine them, first transform the data. So the moment I click on transform data, it is going to open for me a Power Query editor. Now this Power Query editor, it is the same for all the Microsoft BI tools. Even in Power Query, Power BI, it is the same tool you're going to see when it opens the Power Query editor. This is the way it will look like. A few changes may happen, but most of the things are the same. So you'll take time. One of our videos where we explain all these tools, the description will be included. The link will be included in the description below. So try to peruse through these tabs, check and try out how they work. We may not look at everything in this video. Now when you check this data, we see that the color or the font color of the binary or the content field is different from the others, and when I hover my cursor there, it is linkable, which means when I click, it should be opening what is appearing in that binary. So you see there is a sheet, there is a table. So when I click on the table, it will show me the data that is there. So this is it. But I never wanted to take that path, which means I will cancel all the applied steps which have been created and go back to the initial step I started with. Power Query editor, every step you do, it creates an applied step here, and the only way you can undo is cancelling the step which has been done. We don't undo Ctrl-Z in Power Query editor. We don't undo using Ctrl-Z. Then another thing, you can't use any other Excel workbook which may be open when an editor is open. So you will always have to first close and load and save your changes, then you can use another workbook. We can give it a name here. I will say this is combine multiple, combine. I can just leave it as combine. So which means our query is going to have the name combined. The moment I enter, this changes here. Now queries will be automatically creating themselves here. Don't mind about that. Now when you check the headers, this one is different from the other filters, meaning that all our data is here, and when I hover there it tells me combine files. The same feature is here. If you don't happen to get it, it's here, combine files. But I'm not going to combine files before I get rid of the other attributes, because I no longer need the other attributes. So if I want to get rid of the other attributes, there are two options. There is here remove other columns. So when I click remove other columns, it will delete others and remain with what I'm already selecting. So if I cancel this step, so also when you right click, you'll always get the quick options without even looking for the options from the tab. So remove other options, so remove other columns. So after removing other columns, now I have the mandate to go and combine. Still I'm combining through a Power Query editor, because I need to do some changes before I load it to my sheet or to any connection I'm going to use to do a data analysis. So I'll click here, combine my files. Excel is going to evaluate the query. After evaluation, it will give you a sample file to look through whether this is what you needed exactly. So Excel, before it combines the files, it gives you a sample file, and when you check the sample file, they have picked for us 2017, which is the first file here. So they have picked for us 2017, which is the first file. So they will bring for you a sample file with a sheet. If there are many sheets or tables, they will drop here. So this is the one sheet we have in each of the files. So this is the sample file. I look through my file and I say, yes, this is the file I needed. And all my files have to be having the same format if you to easily combine them. After I have confirmed that, then I can say okay. Then there is here another check for skipping files with errors. It is always not a good option. That's why it is not checked default. You can always first look at the errors, then you ignore them. But when you skip the errors at the beginning, which means you may skip out some files which you will have corrected and used in data analysis. So I will do okay. It is going to process the queries, and check here, they are going to process for us the queries. Excel will process for you the queries. There is no need of coding. All that is done in the background by Excel itself. Okay, now the queries are being processed, and evaluation is being done. So you're going to see the queries drop here, and our files will be combined. So these are the queries. So it has created a parameter. It has used the sample as a sample file, as we have already seen. It used this sample file. You can even change the sample file and pick another one. So it has a transform file, which means still it uses the sample file that was the 2017. When you check, it uses the sample file. Now this is our combined query. Now when I check here, let's say if I select anyway, we may not get that drop down, but when we check our this file of ours now given, it is a combination of all the three files. How do you know? That's what we are going to tell now. Our data is already clean. There is nothing much we need to do, but I'm going to do a few of the things for us to know exactly how we deal with this. So I want to manipulate this the order date. When you come to add column, it always has from date and time. It always has this option where you can pick a year from a date, pick a month, pick a quarter, pick a week, pick a day, anything. So which means here, if I want to pick day of the week, you can pick it. If you want, you can pick even a day. I'm going to pick a year, so I will click year, then it will pick for me. You see, it creates a column just independently for year. So when I filter here, that's where we shall confirm that all our 3 years have been included. You get that? So we have already, now we are doing data mining. We are mining some columns from the existing columns. So you can do the same, select this. Maybe you now can pick a month. So you see there is month, there is start month, there is days in a month, there is name of the month. So this is what I need. So the moment I click name of the month, it's going to create another column for name of the month. So if I check at the end, at the extreme end, I should be getting the name of the month. So it is very easy to do this. So which means you'll have skipped all the formula bit on how you create all these columns from the data that is pre-existing. So you can go ahead and create other, like we'll go on day and pick name of the day. So there it will bring for you what was a Sunday, what was a Friday, which one was a Monday, and all the other bits. That is it. So here you're doing data mining. Now that is when you want to add columns, adding columns from a date. Now let me add another column. Now we are going to add a column. When we check our data, here we have profits, we have quantities sold, we have quantities sold, we have sales. Now if I want to do a calculation, a simple calculation, like I want to add a profit sales ratio, so that one is a calculated column which we shall always add. The first option here is adding a column using an example. We're not going to use that here. We're going to use a custom column where you create a column using a custom formula. So I'll click on this. I want to create a profit sales ratio. So it is going to open for me a dialog to create a custom column. Then here I'll say I need this as a profit sales ratio. So here we go. Now instead of the formula, it is for the simple formulas, the DAX, that is the data analytic expressions. We shall learn more about this in the continuing videos. So here we're going to look for the profit sales ratio. It is going to be profit. You double click and it will pick the day, the field, then divide, that is a slash. So because I haven't put anything, it shows me an error, which means that I can't end this here. So I have to pick sales. When I double click, it picks sales, and here it tells you that no syntax errors have been detected, which means this is fine. So I can go ahead and OK. So the moment I OK this, we have our profit sales ratio, which we would have done the other end by getting a formula equals to profit this divided by sales, then fill down, then all that bit. Now this is it all. For now, my data, I assume that my data is clean. If you have blank rows, you can always right click here, you remove duplicates, you remove errors, you can keep duplicates. All those options are there for you. And here now we go back to home. We have done, you can also do the transformation. You can do the transformation here. You can check all this. You can split a column. If I want to split the order ID, maybe there is a state and an order ID, I can split this by using any option there. You can extract if you don't have something you don't want. If you have something you don't want to appear in your final data, you can extract it using either first characters, last characters, or you use a range, or you use a delimiter, all those bits. Okay, now we go directly to close and load. Close and load, here we have two options. The first option is it loads all your data in a spreadsheet or an Excel sheet. This same sheet we are opening, we are working in. So here it will close and load all this data for the 3 years in one sheet. Then when you do close and load to a connection, so when you do this, it gives you a dialog box to select the options you need. So the options here, the table is the other first option, close and load. Then this, it is going to close and load it in a pivot table report. So if you want to do a quick pivot tables, you just close and load in a pivot table, then you can use your data minus even loading here. Then you can close and load in a pivot chart. Then you can close it as you can create a connection. So we shall see this in future, where we have to create connections and we add it to data models, such that we can combine more than one files using Power Pivot, which is here. So this time, let's close and load in a table. Then I do OK. This one is going to load in a table or a spreadsheet, and the queries are refreshing here as we wait for it to load, and it will have to count for you the number of rows that have been loaded. So this is it, guys. So when we look at the end, we already have our additional columns. This is year, this is month, and day, name of the day, then our profit sales ratio. So it tells here that we have loaded 67 rows loaded. So the moment you hover on the query, it will bring for you this dialog, which has all the other details: the fields loaded, the status it is in, and the data sources where you get it. If you want to go back to the Power Query editor, you click here on the edit, and it will open again a Power Query editor and do further changes. Okay, I will close this because there is nothing much I need to change. You can close this from here, or you can close and load again from this side. So if there is any error, when you hover here, it will always show you that you have this number of errors, you have this and that. The other options, we shall look at them later. Then if you want to delete the queries, then you can delete, but the sheet will remain, the data in the sheet will remain, but it will no longer be dynamic, or it will no longer refresh with others. So now this is our report, which means now you can go ahead and do analytics using this. I can create a pivot on a new sheet. You see, I can create a pivot, then I pick here years. I can pick the years, then I bring the cells like this. So this is it. Right click, number, format this, number, we check that, and we don't need any. So those are the cells we have for 3 years. We are going to test this now. We are going to add the other two, years, that is 2020 and 2021. So the moment I add these 2 years in that folder, then go back to my sheet in this workbook. The moment I do a refresh all, it's going to refresh and add the 2 years automatically. That is the beauty with Power Query. You no longer have to do the dynamics. You remember now here our query is having 6,767. Note that we are going to refresh this. Refresh. So the moment I refresh all, it is going to run and look into that source directory and pick any addition that has been put there. So you'll check now that we have loaded 12,072 rows. So you see, when you come now to our pivot, it automatically updates with the 2 years that have been added. That is 2021 and 2020. So guys, that is the basics I wanted to discuss with you on Power Query. Please go ahead and subscribe on Sabtech Online. Hit the like button if you find this helpful to your daily works in analytics. Follow us, put a comment, and we shall come back with more and more videos. Please, let's meet in another video. Bye bye.